The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC.
Hello and welcome to the Postcast with me, Mark Story. I'm here today with Graham Rodway and Paul Keeley from the Racing Post and Brendan Duke from Paddy Power. Hello, gents.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Now, Brendan, I'm going to go straight to you. Brendan, is this your kind of weekend?
Certainly not. It all looks fairly impossible to me in terms of these handicaps. And then the ground in Newbury has turned atrocious. So just to add another wrinkle. I suppose at least it's better it's happened now, so we know going in as opposed to not knowing, which we've suffered the last couple of weeks. Yeah, very, very tricky.
So let's start off with the Ayr Gold Cup. What's the market looking like?
The market on the Ayr Gold Cup is looking... we're 5 places on the Ayr Gold Cup and the Silver Cup, no less, to give the old punters a chance. Growl is the 11-2 Fav, 10-1 Magnus Maximus, 12-1 Orion's Bow, Hoofit, 14-1 brings in Brando, Name It What You Like, and Jack Dexter, and 16's Bar.
Graham, how are you seeing this one?
Well, I like Growl. I think he's the right favourite. I just wonder whether he might drift. There's been so much money for him in the last couple of weeks. He seems to have got a little bit short me now, and I think a few other people might be looking at this race thinking, God, he's plenty short enough. I think he's got a favourite's chance, but I'm keen to take him on. The problem is there's a bunch of horses in here that I've had marked down as potential Ayr Gold Cup winners for a long time, one of them being Tarantum Star, who I think after he won at Newmarket in May, I wrote down, we'll win the Ayr Gold Cup.
So you must stick with that, Graham.
Well, I should do, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
And obviously Richard Farkey was listening because he's given him 139 days off since his last run.
But Kevin Ryan even, maybe.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin Ryan. Yeah, I always get those two mixed up. I'm racing on that hill. I'm not really sure why.
But Pat Smother.
Yeah, and a good booking, obviously, and it's quite blatant, isn't it? This has been the aim. However, if I have a look down through some of the other horses that I've got noted, then Perfect Pasture also says we'll win the Ayr Gold Cup. So I suppose I should stick with that one as well.
Back both of them.
I'm allowed to back them both. I know, on
yeah,
both sides of the
know.
draw. One's drawn 9, one's drawn 16. I'd expect Perfect Pasture will stay towards the far side. I don't know what he'll do on the other one. But, I know it was a good time when Perfect Pasture won in Ireland. I was very impressed with the win there. And then last time out, I completely forget it. I mean, he likes soft ground, and the going was too fast last time out. So I'm more than happy to put a line through that run. They're my two against the field. I think Growl will run really well, but he's too short.
The ground's slightly better on the far side, isn't it?
Well, it looked that way, didn't it? But
Well, this is it. It's been fascinating, right? Because all week, right, the going stick readings that MMO has been putting up on the BHA website have said that the stand side was far slower than either the centre or the far side. And yet, when they did the draw yesterday, the far side, the draws 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 were the last 5 to be picked.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers. Whether they're not paying any attention, whether it's the wisdom of crowds and they're just saying, well, I better not go there because nobody else wants it.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. And I back Jack Dexter, who I think is probably, this is definitely his best chance of winning. And I was thinking, come on, come out. Someone's going to get the right stalls. And it came out really late. And there it was, plonk, trap 5, lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm perfectly happy with that. The sprint on Thursday, 7 of the first 8 home were drawn in the lowest 8 stalls.
Yeah.
They're gonna go middle to stand side. It might be quite a condensed bunch over there in the end because it really did look like there was a proper advantage, and the going to Friday morning suggested it was even more so.
it's funny though that nobody seems to listen to these sort of clerk
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, I
Because a
know.
couple of weeks ago there was a meeting at Windsor on a Monday afternoon, and the clerk of the course was absolutely adamant the fast strip of ground was up the stand side rail where it always is.
Yeah.
But because there'd been rain, all the jockeys every race went to the far side, apart from one race where one guy decided to snap the stands rail and he won.
He won.
Yeah.
Was that the last race, was it, probably?
Yeah, but it was late in the card.
Yeah, late in the card, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's borderline incompetence at the very best, isn't it? You've got to pay attention. But anyway, Jack Dexter has run in this race 3 times already. He's running it off marks of 110, 108 and 108. Now, when he would run off 110 was the last time when there was ease in the ground and he was third. He's out to 101 now. He's 7 years old. He might not be as good as he was. But his run 2 starts ago at Ascot was as well as he's ever run in his life on fast ground over 5 furlongs. So I don't think there's that much wrong with him. He came back to form last autumn as well. He won a listed race at Doncaster on bad ground. He looks to be drawn in the right place. Jim Goldie's booked Fran Berry. He's 16-1. I mean, I just think all the stars might just be aligned for him this year. I do like Tarentum Star. That was the other one I put up. Graham's obviously just talked him up as well. And the other one I've added to the portfolio lately is G-Force, former Betfred Sprint Cup winner. A friend of mine has been banging on about it, and when you look at his run last time, he was quite an eye catcher. Third to the Happy Prince, who went on to run Bretton Rock second last week in a group race at Donny, and he's apparently had a wind operation since he was last in the Stewards Cup. Obviously, he's got loads of back form, and handles easy ground. So they're the ones of interest for me. I do think Growl was very, very eye-catching at Goodwood, but you'll surely get bigger in the morning.
Yeah, that tends to be the way now, doesn't it?
It does these days.
Yeah, it does. Brendan, how are you looking at this race? What factors are so important for you?
Well, I'm trying to keep it simple, Mark. I'm going a horse is drawn low to middle who likes soft ground. So I can certainly see Jack Dexter from a 5-place angle. He looks very solid, but Paul's already got him. So what about this Flaming Spear, owned by the Lizard himself? I wouldn't be shocked to see a bit of cash for this. Robert Winston has a bit of previous for him. Thought it was a group horse at one stage. Major eye catcher on comeback. I don't know what the hell happened in New York, but he's had a break. May have had a problem. Goes well fresh, not exposed. Drawn 12, 25-1. Looks perfectly fair to me.
Now we'll get some clues with the Silver Cup earlier on the card. Have you got your prices for those, Brendan?
We do. It is the rock solid Intasav is the 8-1 favourite, 10-1 Reputation, 11-1 Nuno Tristan, 12-1 George Bowen in Jago Flying Pursuit, 14-1 Get Knotted, Stamp Hill and Shipyard, and 16's Bar.
Favourites chance, Graham?
Yeah, obvious chance, and he's absolutely rock solid, massive improver this season. The only problem is he keeps finding one too good, and he keeps going off favourite, and that is obviously a bit of a concern. You don't want to be backing favourites that keep finishing second, and that's what he does. I'm sure he'll run well again, and but you do start to wonder whether he might finish in the places and not win if he's just on a high enough mark or for whatever reason. George Bowen was also like drawn 16. Big eye catcher at Ripon a couple of starts ago. Got in some trouble, ran on nicely. Come to form at this time of year. Last year he put together a couple of wins last year. This
he was second in this race, wasn't he?
Yeah,
just beating the neck or something. Wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he won the race that he won,
he won
ran
the
in
last
time before. When he was 8th last week, coming into this, so he's obviously maybe in a bit better form last year than he was this. But I'm not too concerned. I mean, his mark is down. I think he's below when he put that sequence together last year, and he's well handicapped. I see George Bowen running well.
How much store are you putting on the draw yourself, Graham?
I'm not going to take too much notice of it. I mean, I've tipped horses that are higher, but I'm expecting. I mean, I'll be absolutely amazed if you see any jockeys coming right up towards the standside rail. The way that sprint went on Thursday, I expect they'll all run in sort of a big group towards the middle or the far side, and in which case it shouldn't be too much of a big deal to get across from a middling sort of draw like that. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on anything in the 20s, but I think it'd be all right for everyone.
Paul, are you going to be heavily involved in this one?
I wouldn't say heavily involved, but I'll have a few bets, and I think I will stay low. I think it looked like there was a definite advantage. We know that these things can change, so it's worth watching. There's 2 sprints today, obviously. It's worth watching to see if there's anything in it. But as I said, the going stick reading changed today. It made it look like it was even more in favour of the low numbers. So I'll stay there. It's funny. It's interesting. What price did you say Shipyard was? 14 to 1. Now that's a big double figure price for the horse. It was one of the gambles of the season last time. It got absolutely smashed up at Doncaster. Now it didn't win, but it won a 4-1 favour, and I think it was something like 16-1 in the morning. And you just couldn't believe how much money was piling on. It just kept shortening and shortening right up to the off. Finished 6th. If it hadn't gone a 4-1 favour, you'd have said it ran pretty well. But the trainer Michael Appleby's put a visor on for the first time. I'm not saying that I fancy it. I'm just saying that watch out. If there's money for it again, somebody thought this horse had a great chance last week, and it's not running in much better company really. But Eccleston as a horse, I keep backing. I keep falling for him, but he ran well in this race last year off a £5 higher mark. And I think he's got a decent chance for David O'Mara, and he's in stall 5.
Have you unravelled it, Brendan, yourself?
No. Well, it's 5 places,
Yeah.
and it'll be very hard to kick into Sab out of the 5,
Yeah.
I think. I backed him last week in the Curragh. I'm not sure exactly how he didn't win, given the wind was a head crosswind. He'd all the coverage, the perfect draw. My theory was blown by the fact that a horse drawn 2 won the race. These draws would tie you up in knots, I'm afraid. But he ran another perfectly good race. He'd surely be in the 5, 8-1. It's an obvious one, but there's nothing wrong with the obvious sometimes.
What are your prices for the Firth of Clyde, which is the off at 2 o'clock?
We don't have any prices on the Firth of Clyde, I'm afraid.
Okay, so can you unravel it for us?
Well, I imagine Bletchley will be fav. The ground was probably quick enough for her the last day in Newmarket. Not that the Ascot race is working out particularly well, but I think she's still entitled to be fav on that. Delectation is an interesting one at any sort of a price on debut. The second was fav, so at least to beat the right horse. By Delegator out of a Pivotal mare, so you think could be interesting on the ground. So I'm just interested to see. Delectation could be one that's overpriced.
Paul, your face is all over the weekend with Golden Eye. Your pick, your sort of
Yeah,
give you
actually,
that
funny
brand after your Harbour Law success, 40-1. Are you Golden Eye? I mean, don't you like Delectation yourself?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, as Brendan just mentioned, it's quite interesting because Brian Smart after she won that race at Thirsk, he said, I hadn't done very much with her. She'll come on a ton. And then he nominated this race for her. Now, if you have a look back at the last 10 years, he has had just 3 runners in the race, and 2 of them won, and the other one finished 4th and was a Group 3 winner next year. So he knew what he had, So I think Delectation, obviously huge amount to find on the book as it stands because she's only won a maiden, but she's definitely of interest. Obviously, Jessica Harrington's Drumfad Bay has run behind some of the best fillies in Ireland. She could be quite difficult to beat. And Bletchley's the form horse, but Delectation sort of interests me. Hopefully at each way price.
I guess even though it's drawn 13, they can just come across from there.
Well, the stalls are in the centre, so I mean, I think when there's only 30 runners, it won't make that much difference. At least I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah. Graham?
Yeah, not a race. I had a strong view, and the horse that keeps jumping out at me every time I look at the race is Stormy Clouds, who obviously was hugely impressive a couple of starts ago and disappointed last time. But I look through this race and I just see a bunch of sort of exposed, considering they're only juveniles. A lot of them are exposed, and it's not a sort of race I'm interested in to bet on really.
It's a race renowned for shocks over the last few years as well. Loads of big price winners.
So if you don't like anything that, Graham, what else on the card at Ayr do you like?
That's a good question. Let me have a look at the rest of the card now. 1 second. I've got to find it because I've got mixed in between. There it is. The 310.
Yeah.
Garcia for Richard Fahey. Loves soft ground. It was very impressive when beating Chief Whip a couple of starts ago. I think that's decent form. Again, last time out was disappointing, but it's been given a break, obviously with an autumn campaign in mind, given his liking for the cut. And I mean, has there been a better claimer around this year than Adam McNamara? I mean, he's been one of the best, hasn't he? He's well worth £5 claim. A 3-year-old getting a lot of weight from older horses. I thought Garcia was a good bet in that, the 310.
Paul?
I'll take him on with another 3-year-old in that Mirando. I think he's absolute stone cold certain to be favourite. I think he's already second favourite for a big handicap at Ascot on Champions Day. Trainer deliberately put him away because of the soft ground. Absolutely bolted up last time. The Garcia run, I backed him that day, and that race at Haydock is normally very good, full of unexposed 3-year-olds. Aren't that many of it that have come out and done much good though? So I'm slightly worried about that. Might not be a worry for Garcia because he did put his head down and win. But I think Mirando could be, potentially a lot better than his mark. And the rest are just a bunch of, largely out of form older horses. So it could be between the two, but Mirando would be definitely a clear pick for me.
Is there anything catching your eye on the rest of the card, Brendan?
Well, I just thought, looking at it, that it was going to be very hard to get under this Mirando. Have them Paul Keeley starts ramping him, and I don't think Roger the Ramper is going to go easy either. So this thing is going to be tipped up in a major way in the morning. It'd be hard to get under this horse.
I shan't be putting him in the paper if he's that short. Well, when the prices come in the afternoon, there'll be no chance.
Right, yeah, he could get very short, yeah. But it might just be one to just keep backing.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Now, Newbury, we've not been talking about horses today. We've been talking about weather. I mean, the place has been absolutely swamped with 3 inches of rain. It's still raining. They're still racing today. It's hard to get into the course. I think there are 44 non-runners as we speak. It's
apocalyptic.
Yeah, apocalyptic. That's it. Yeah, even though it's been dry in other areas not too far away. How do we deal with this, Paul? We're looking at trying to find winners here. I mean, is it straightforward?
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, you'd imagine a lot of horses that don't handle the ground are going to get taken out. I mean, sometimes when it's flat raced, I wonder why don't they just let them run anyway, because, especially handicappers, they're in the handicap, they might get dropped a couple of pounds for a bad run. They don't always do so because the handicappers know what they want, but even so, it's not going to do a horse any damage to run on the ground. But, you have to focus on horses with soft ground form, don't you? Because this is really deep ground as well. It has to be after 3 inches plus of rain. So I'd imagine it's going to be really hard work.
And it's going to be worse tomorrow, presumably, unless than it is today.
Yeah, I mean, probably the worst thing about it is a drying overnight, isn't it?
It'll
be really sticky and hard work, and it's going to be hard work for 2-year-olds in the Mill Reef, that's for sure.
And the favourites come out of that already. Macaris.
Yeah, well, you can't be surprised about that because he got absolutely bogged down the one time he'd run on soft ground. The race itself is just a bit of a guess, isn't it? I know the filly down the bottom, Perfect Angel, ran well on soft ground early on in the season. Legendary Lunch has some good to soft ground form. I'm half interested that Clive Cox has put Harry Angel in the race. He went off second favourite in a race at Ascot in a smallish field, but I think the 4th and 5th, the only ones to have run since. They're both rated in the 80s now, and they were beating a fair way. I think he's sort of quite interesting by Dark Angel. He gets plenty of those who act in the mud. But it's a bit of guesswork, really, isn't it?
Is it guesswork, Graham? Is there anything there, lines you've got on this race?
No, yeah, this is the sort of race that those bookie chaps must be rubbing their hands together when they see something like this. I mean, we've all got to have a stab at this, and we're all in the dark as to what's any good, what's going to act on the ground, what is going to turn up in top form. Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Perfect Angel at Goodwood, but I was disappointed equally at Salisbury. I didn't know what to make of that. Andrew Balding does particularly well at Salisbury with his juveniles there. I thought it was a big disappointment. Again, I was hugely impressed with Sutter County at the start of the season. Backed it at York last time after a huge layoff and was disappointed with that. If I was going to bet in the race, I'd have to stick with one or the other, but it's not a betting race for me.
You'll leave it. Brendan, what about you?
In the Mill Reef.
Mm.
Very difficult. I just having a quick look at it. I thought that on pedigree, Harry Angel and Medici Banchieri were interesting on pedigree. That they might be more likely to handle the ground than some of the others, but it's a guess up.
What about prices at Newbury? What have you got?
Okay, well I have prices on the 145, the 215, and the 250.
Okay. Okay, let's go. What's about the Mill Reef?
We just discussed the 250.
Yeah.
Right. Well, here's the prices.
Yeah,
here's the prices to add some colour to it. That's what I do.
Good start, yeah.
That's why I'm here. 3-1 Legendary Lunch, 5-1 Global Applause, 11-2 Perfect Angel, 13-2 Sutter County, 7-1 Harry Angel, 8-1 Medici Banchieri and Unabated, and 12's Bar.
Okay, what about the race formerly known as the Arc Trial, the Legacy Cup, Brendan?
That is 2-1 Dartmouth, 5-2 joint second Favs, Algometer and Robin of Navan, 8-1 Arad and 10-1 Tashar.
Graham.
Well, Dartmouth hates soft ground, doesn't it? I mean, I've always had Dartmouth down as a much better horse on fast ground, and I couldn't have it at all on heavy. So that automatically makes it a betting race, and it's a betting race between two for me. And at the prices, I have to back Tashar. I can't believe that's outside of the field. I know it's been disappointing generally since it won at Goodwood last year, but it was massively impressive that day. And then it did win at Newmarket, but didn't win, if you know what I mean. It got awarded the race. It finished second, but I thought that day it shaped very much like it wanted cut in the ground. If you look back for its form, it's got no form with cut, but it's got quite a knee action, the horse, and I think it'll really like testing ground. It didn't run that badly last time. Finished fourth, kept on nicely, and it was after a long layoff. I thought it was promising, looked like it might come back to form towards the autumn. And I can't believe it's such a big price. The other one, obviously, is Algometer, who's a confirmed stay, who would definitely be coming home strongly over 1 mile, 3 furlongs on heavy ground. This sort of test will be right up his street. He obviously gets weight as a 3-year-old, but he's 5-2 and he's a quarter the price of Tasha, and I'll have to back Tasha at the prices.
I'm imagining, Paul, you might not be recommending anything in this, but what would you put your money on?
Well, it's funny. It's funny, when you look at the race title, is there anything more ridiculous than it having the words in brackets, formerly known as the Arc Trial?
Not as good as it was.
Not as good as
rubbish now.
Formerly laughably called an Arc Trial. Has any horse ever run in the Arc that's running this race? Absolutely bonkers. Big black letters, formerly known as the Arc Trial. What nonsense. Anyway, Robin of Navan, I thought, ran a fair race at Kempton on its return. Does handle some cut. I thought that was quite interesting. I do have a little worry about 3-year-olds, whether, even at this late stage of his career, going in this really, really bottomless ground, whether you're probably better off with an older, stronger horse.
Algometer will love it, won't he? Surely. He's an old warrior, isn't he?
Well, yeah, possible. But, in terms of maturity, they're still a bit behind the bigger horses, the older horses. So, that would worry me. Robin Navan sort of some interest, and maybe in a small field it might not matter so much, but it wouldn't surprise me if the older horses dominated.
Right, we need to find a bet in Newbury. The duty-free handicap maybe something you might be looking
Yeah,
at.
this is more my thing, especially. Let's get Brendan to give us the odds first of all. Go down a fairway and all.
Certainly will, Paul. It is 6-1 Autocratic, 15-2 Scarlet Dragon, 8-1 Baydar, Imperial Aviator, and Mousdawaj, 12-1 What About Carlo, Lord Ben Stack, 14-1 Bermondsey, 16-1 brings in Stars Over the Sea, Zhui Feng, Scrutinise, Passover, and Goodwood Mirage and Sonokian Star, and 20's Bar. Was that far enough?
No, I don't think you mentioned.
Okay, scream if you want to go faster. 20-1 Watersmeet, Gold Prince, Sir Roderick.
All right, you can finish there.
Okay, thank you.
Right, yeah, obviously this race is absolutely dominated by 3-year-olds, and again, there's that worry. This is going to be horrific ground. Are they going to handle it as well as some of the older horses? That's my angle. Not just that, but when I saw what ground was first thing in the morning, the first thing I did was get up this morning and back What About Carlo at 22-1. Now, obviously, that's gone. Brendan says he's now 12s. But Gold Prince is 20-1, and he's got some cracking form on soft ground. He was a close fourth, I think it was, in the big race at Haydock, the Old Newton Cup, a couple of starts ago. He didn't run that badly last time, over 1 mile 6, which he didn't really stay. And I think he's a massive price given the ground because he goes well on it, and they're the interesting ones for me.
You feel the same about the 3-year-olds, Graham?
I wouldn't completely rule them out. On
I
that
wouldn't rule them out
fact
at all. I
alone.
mean, they dominate the market, don't they? But I would take a chance at bigger prices. What I'm saying.
But the problem is the 3-year-olds that I'd be interested in, the likes of sort of Imperial Aviator, Sir Roderick. If you feel that maybe those two have already done their winning, done their running, coming in off the back of disappointing efforts last time. I was absolutely pulling my hair out when Lord Ben Stack won last time. I mean, I have tipped this horse every time it has run this year. Every time, and it was 5-0-0, tailing off. Now, it just happened, as always, when you go off on holiday, you just know, don't you, that's something that you've been
See the excuses I
following.
put up with for some rubbish tipping, Brendan, don't you?
2 weeks holiday. Next thing I turn up like a week later and I see that Lord Ben Stack has made all at some ridiculously big price, and it's come right back to the form that I had it in from last year when there's a 2 back in its form figures, and it should have won that race. I mean, it was given a terrible ride. It got in all sorts of bother. The horse flew home and was beaten a nose or something faster mission by Cumro, who subsequently went on and won again and was rated like £16 higher. And yet Lord Ben Stack, because he'd run so badly, had actually gone down in the weights. He was thrown in. And he finally came back to form last time, and he's carrying a £5 penalty here. But Clifford Lee's fantastic £7 claimer, he's on board. And this horse is well handicapped on that Cumro form. It definitely should have won that race. After that race, I thought that Lord Ben Stack is a borderline listed group horse. And if he can come back to that sort of form, he's a massive player. He likes soft ground. I'm not too. I can't. I sound strong, but I can't be too strong because it's the most competitive race of the day. I think it's a real cracker. But Lord Benstack's a good bet.
Were you on holiday when were you checking on your phone and then just
No,
looked
no,
and saw the name Lord
No,
Benstack?
I only noticed it when I got back to work, obviously,
Yeah.
and started, getting back
fuming,
into the
yeah.
races, and I was like, oh, I can't believe that has happened.
Okay, Brendan, what are the prices you got for us at Newbury?
No other prices in Newbury, Mark. I'm
Nothing
afraid.
at all. Was that it?
That-
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
That's our best.
Give us a bet from Newbury then.
Oh, what about the Goodwood Mirage? The boy,
that thing. Yeah.
Well, the boy Bell has revitalised him. He's still a bit of a character. Like, he hung around in front the last day in Sandown. I thought he was a little bit unlucky. And the Jeremy, he's by Jeremy, which is a really, really good heavy ground angle. Like, he's a good stallion, full stop. And they're pretty ground versatile, but they seem to relish the slop. He's a big price at 20 to 1 to me. So I'll have a few quid in him.
Paul, anything else?
No, that'll do for me. I couldn't work out the Group 3 sprint with all that heavy ground. There's three non-runners already. Gold Dream will come out as well, or you'd imagine. So I think I'll leave that.
Right, now it's time to get our best bets.
This will not be beaten.
Graham, what's your best bet this weekend?
Tashar in the first. Is it the first at Newbury? I hope it's the first. The 145 Newbury Tashar.
Paul?
I'm going to go Jack Dexter each way, 345 Ayr Gold Cup.
Brendan?
250 Newbury, Goodwood Mirage.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Hello, I'm Mark Story. This is the Postcast. Welcome back. I'm here with Graham Rodway, Paul Giddy and Brendan Duke. Now, Brendan and Paddy Power are hoping you're going to give us some insight into some of the action on Sunday, including the Group 3 at Goran.
Yes. Okay. The most interesting thing about Goran on Sunday is it's likely to be £1 million pick six or €1 million pick six. But the reason they've picked Goran is because it is fiendishly difficult. I've had a very, very brief look at these races. These are just scandalous. The discipline will be favourite in the Group 3 Landweight Stud Filly Stakes, and she's entitled to be favourite. That is about all I've got to say on that race, I'm afraid.
And that's it for the whole meet. Nothing else stands out.
It's impossible. You'd be lucky to pick one winner, but I'm going to be involved in a syndicate that's going to pick 6, and I won't be here next
okay.
week.
You won't be here, you'll be gone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I guess you've not looked at the card at Plumpton yet, have you?
I haven't had a
No,
chance.
no, sure.
I believe Utoxeter is on.
What do you do with your life? Don't you spend time looking at Plumpton? 5 days. Declarations.
Yeah, no. I'm sure it'll be winter soon. Winter is coming.
Well, that's the only good thing, isn't it? The fact that Plumpton is back means the winter
Yeah,
is
I know,
coming.
yeah,
It's not a good thing.
I absolutely love Plumpton, but the decks have only just dropped, haven't they? So we got to have a proper good look. I don't want to put my name to anything when I'm tipping in the paper tomorrow. So you'll have to wait until Sunday.
Very wise. Sometimes best just to set out and wait and do it properly. Thanks very much, gents. Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Graham. We'll see you all again on Monday for our next Postcast.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.